Hey, pal. You ready? Can you pick me up at 6:30?
I'm here.
Too late.
I'll go for 5 minutes. Move it. You're killing me. You know what, Dad? I'm good.
It may be quite a while before he's ready, but our Subaru Legacy will be waiting for him.
It's not just a sedan, it's a Subaru.
University Subaru.
The Wise Choice!
Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on this Wednesday, January the 14th. It's good to have you with us today. We got two diverse subjects today. First of all, we're going to start with Dr. Paul Foreman, MU Healthcare. Good to have you here,
Good to be
Paul.
here.
And you're an old-timer here in Columbia. You came in 1960?
Yes, I did.
And we were talking about all the things that you remembered about this town in the 60s. And
Yes.
how everything has changed
Yes.
over the years.
We had one McDonald's.
Yeah, well...
No malls.
No, there were no malls, and you can go
So-
from one part of town to the other in 10 minutes
Yeah,
without
you
a
could
problem.
bike wherever you wanted to go.
Everything has changed, though. But we're here, we're not talking about the history of Columbia today. We're talking about asthma.
Yes.
Asthma is something that can affect people at any age, right?
It can. From 0 to 99.
Yeah. Now, I had asthma when I was a kid.
Did you?
And I thought it was gone. I outgrew it. But then I find as I've grown older, I have asthma attacks from time to time.
It can happen.
So why?
Well, asthma is an inflammatory condition. It's a disease of the airways, and it can change over time. So it varies, and it can vary as you grow older, and it can also vary as what environmental setting that you're in. So sometimes we're not aware that we're having asthma symptoms, and that's some of the things that we do on our end in terms of getting people more aware of when they have asthma and what they need to do about it.
How can you not be aware that you're having asthma symptoms?
Well, people fool themselves. So a lot of folks say I'm doing fine, but when you quiz them, they will say, well, I'm having a little trouble when I run for a certain period of time on the basketball court or on the tennis court. So the way to find out is through a meter. It's a tool, like a simple thermometer. So to check your temperature, we can check your asthma. And
how do you do
we
that?
use that. You blow into a meter device, and it will register your FEV1, which is your forced expiratory volume in 1 second. So you can get 90% of your air out in 1 second. We're going to measure if you have an obstruction when you do that.
But now, an asthma attack can be brought on by something in the air, by pollen,
Yes.
or by dander, or I notice with me, sometimes it will come on with cold air.
Yes, it can. As I said before, environment can trigger it. A cold can. I just had a cold. I have asthma, and I got pretty sick and had to check my lung number and see how I'm doing. So there are 4 key messages that we try to provide folks. Do you want me to run through those?
Yeah, real quick. We're almost out of time here.
That'd be great. The four things that you need to do is there's a medication that can help you, and that's called an inhaled corticosteroid. People get uncomfortable with steroids. Those are actually good for you in minuscule amounts, which are like topical and can be in your airways and actually heals your tissue, and that can make you better. It takes about 2 to 3 months. Generally. The next thing people need to really understand is you need to check your airway with a meter. You can do that through your doctor. We do it in the schools.
Okay.
So that's our program we are doing statewide and nationally.
Number 3?
The third thing is you really need to inhale your medication right. So you could have asthma, but it'd be inhaling it too fast. So it hits the back of your airway and doesn't get down deep into your lungs. So you need to be coached how much time it should take you to inhale. And the last thing is know your triggers. So you mentioned before, you knew that pollen can affect you, or you knew this and that. People don't always know. So there's a little prick test we give kids that will tell us immediately what does bother them.
If you want more information, the telephone number to call is?
Yeah, it is at the University of Missouri. It is 573-874 8629.
Okay.
So, and I'm really glad I remembered that number.
Okay, I'm glad you did too. Dr. Paul Foreman, thank you so much. Now stay right where you are,
Sure.
because we've got Chris Fitzgerald over here representing Clean Sweep Columbia. What is Clean Sweep Columbia?
Clean Sweep Columbia is a community service program and a Missouri stream team that raises awareness for the streams inside the city limits, and we're also working out in the county now, doing trash pickup, basically trash and debris, and hauling out tires of creek beds. We started February 27th of last year, and our first cleanup was in Flat Branch Park, where we recovered a little over 200 pounds of trash out of the creek beds and bank and common areas.
Did that make you sad?
It does, you know, and I spent a lot of time in the parks and walking the parks, and so it was natural to pick up trash when you see it, especially along the trailways. But then you look out into the creeks, and you know there are adopt-a spots. There are other people that help out, but during the winter months, it's kind of a difficult time. Not everybody can get there.
But you know what? I can't understand. No matter how I try, I can't understand littering. I honestly do not understand how anybody can litter. This is a beautiful planet that we have, and we are destroying it by not caring.
That's right.
When you see somebody toss, and we've all seen it, you're driving down the highway, you see somebody toss a cigarette butt out.
That's right.
I've seen people where you pull up to a stoplight and they'll take out their ashtrays and dump them all out in the street, and they think that's okay. It's not okay, because that nicotine then, when it rains, is washing down into the storm system and into the streams, polluting the water.
That's right. And we teamed up with the city of Columbia, Mike Kimos, with stormwater and storm drain, got us hooked up with the Missouri Stream Team. We're actually a stream team now, and you know, instead of shaking our hands and going to city council or requesting more trash receptacles, you know, what better way than to raise awareness? You know, when you raise awareness, we've had work days where we've had young kids in their classes walking through the park, and they would stop and thank us for cleaning the water. You know, so how much more effective is that to raise awareness than to try to tell them something, or even people, grown adults who litter every day. I'm more mindful about how I dispose of my trash too when I'm walking through town. You know, I used to be a smoker, and I used to throw my cigarettes down. And
you don't do that
anymore? I don't do that
anymore.
I don't smoke cigarettes anymore.
Yeah. There was one public service announcement that I remember. It had to have been 45 or 50 years ago on television, but I still remember it. It was about littering, and there was an American Indian with the full headdress on.
I remember that.
You remember that?
Yes, I do.
And he said, "Please do not litter." And the camera goes into a real tight shot, and there's a tear coming out of his eye. That has stuck with me through all those years, and that was one thing I remember about not littering. Yeah.
Absolutely.
If people want more information, how can they help out?
They can either go to our website, www.cleansweepcolumbia.org, or you can send us an email, missouri.parks@cleansweepcolumbia.org.
Okay. Chris Fitzgerald, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you.
We're out of time for today. Our program directed by Travis McMillen, Reynolds Journalism Institute. Audio with Pat Akers, KBIA. Our floor director, Lowell Thomas, and our assistant producer and guest coordinator, Uncle James Mauser. Bye-bye.